Oh, okay. It's going to work now. Finally. Oh my gosh, YouTube really didn't want us to do this today.
No,
Jeez.
absolutely not.
Oh, thank you all for waiting. It's so nice to see some people here. Hello, I'm Charlene Schmidt.
Patrick Schmidt.
We are here to do the Babble for 5 movie wrap-up. We're very excited. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody who waited around for us to do this thing. It was about a year ago that we wrapped up on season 5, and I didn't know if we'd be doing any more Babble at all. And when we didn't do it over Christmas break of 2020, I thought, it might be over. That's okay. I was at peace with that. And then you surprised me over the summer, and we watched them all in August, and then cranked them out in November. It took us a little while.
Yeah, it's weird that we have like jobs and things to do and
Lives?
Yeah, so just for a little bit of background, we did watch at the end of the summer and tape all of these at the end of the summer. So it's been a couple months since we watched these movies. But
a little bit, yeah.
At the same time, this part of why we did it that way is we knew we could trust you guys to help us out by asking good, interesting, intriguing questions. You always are so great. And that's awesome. And we appreciate that. And we hope that you're going to bring up some questions in the chat. I mean, we've got a few that we want to answer, but at the same time.
Yeah. If you got anything, please holler.
Yeah, you guys are the bus drivers today. So wherever you want us to go.
We'll go there.
Yep.
Yeah. I want to say hi to Darman, who joined us. Hello. Thank you for making it. And all right. I hope everything is okay. Let us know if you can hear us, see us clearly, if everything is A-okay. First question, have we watched the pilot? No, we have not. That is something that we could potentially do in the future. I am going to ask you the big question at some point.
Yes.
There are other things we can watch. Do you want to watch them? We also have now the potential of a new B5 reimagined series possibly coming down the pipeline. We could do something about that. Oh my gosh. I never thought I would ever say those words. It's amazing.
Yeah, this one has been very, very, very excited about all of the possibilities of a new B5 series. And I think it goes without saying, although we're going to say it, that we're going to watch that.
Of course we are. It's just a question of whether or not we want to produce any content about it.
We will definitely watch. As far as reacting, we don't know. But watching the new series will definitely be something that we do. And to answer your question about the pilot, when I think about a lot of what we've watched, like the pilot is the one big one that kind of stands out as everyone's like, have you seen this? And I'm like, no, I haven't. And it's the one that sort of sticks out like a sore thumb as to, hey, that's kind of one maybe we should watch. So
I think it might be a better experience now that you've seen the rest of the series to go back and watch how it all began. And you can just see how it evolved, where it started and then how it was going. And yeah, I think if you had watched the Gathering to start, you might have just thought, I don't know.
Yeah.
We might have never done this series. But then seeing how it really did begin now, after you've seen all the rest of it, it's kind of an interesting little experiment. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have some remaining specials. Philip, hi, Philip.
Hi.
We've got some more specials left to go. Okay, so how many more specials are there? There's a Rangers special and then the Lost Tales.
Yes. Okay, so here are some options. We do have the pilot we could watch. Also, Legend of the Rangers, which was essentially a failed pilot for a series that never got made. It's basically like another 2 hour, I think it's 2 hours thing, but with a new cast, new adventures, a whole different concept centering around the Rangers, as you could guess. And then Lost Tales is an interesting thing where it was a direct-to-DVD release. It was originally going to be 4 parts. Only 2 got released.
Oh, okay.
But it's an interesting thing. They made this in 2007. So it had some time to make us hungry for more B5 again.
Yeah.
And, it's very low budget. You can kind of tell just by the lack of scenery, but it gives you this really theatrical feel, in my opinion, and it really lets the actors shine, and they showed up. They did it. I love Lost Tales. Aside from the pilot, that would be my recommendation if you want to keep going. But You're in the driver's seat. It's your journey. We're going to do what you want to do.
Okay. Well, I feel like if there are specials remaining to be watched, that would probably be on a list of things to watch. A pilot would be on a list of things to watch. And good question here from Mayra?
Yeah. She's
Sorry.
on the Zocalo Discord chat.
Okay, cool.
So, hey, thank you for joining us.
Do we have the original or the recut of the pilot?
I think it's the recut, but I'm going to have to double check that because I think I have a copy of the original somewhere on a hard drive. Okay. That's the most I can say at the moment. But good question. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. How about we talk some more movies?
Sure.
Okay. Now that you've seen them all, overall impressions. What really stuck out to you as we went through these?
What stuck out to me, and it came up in the Babbles, but the big thing that stuck out to me was how much like the episodes these were. Uh-huh. This was not like movie, theatrical kinds of things, and I guess my expectations were for something more or bigger, and it wasn't that. And like once I got over that after watching the first one, or like the first half of the first one, and I'm like, this is just another episode. Like once I got past that, then I was able to enjoy it a lot more and like understand where they were coming from. I just think my expectations with the word movie were a little unrealistic. Like I came into it just in the wrong headspace. So
that's a question I have for our viewers. Did you have the same impression? Because I think I did too. When I saw the word movie, and even though TV movie definitely scaled it back a little bit for me, I think I was expecting like a little bigger, a little more special effects extravaganza, bigger stories. And I don't know if it really got on that level. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't get there. But at the same time, the storytelling I still think was pretty good. I mean, it was very much Babylon 5. You could see that this was, they didn't try to, except for the last one, whatever
A Call to Arms.
Call to Arms, thank you. Aside from that one, their storytelling was very much in line with what you'd come to expect, and the characters were not acting out of character.
Yeah.
Very, very straight. And then I feel like they were just 2-part episodes, bigger ideas that sort of stood alone, that they wanted to do something bigger with. And I think it was a noble effort. And I don't know if it brought more people in or not, but I think the idea to try something different is always, it's always a good idea to at least think of different things you could do. And it came at the right time as they were going through this transition from season 4 to season 5, which was a tiny transition for the show from season 4 to season 5.
There were changes.
Yeah. By the way, tiny is very sarcastic there.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Sorry, the sarcasm didn't come out very clearly there. But this was the right time for them to try some different things.
Well, and I think we talked about it. The 11th hour of, season 5 was not an expected thing. It happened really out of the blue. And then, oh my gosh, we're getting movies as a bonus. And that's how I think of the movies is they're a happy bonus. You don't have to watch them to understand the 5-year story at all. Mm-hmm. It's just if you've gone through that and you're still interested in seeing more, this is probably your first place to stop.
Yeah. And after watching all 4, I feel like they happened in the right order too.
Yeah.
Because the first one was really like the bonus stuff for, some payoff for people who had been watching for 4 years.
Yeah.
The first one was the love letter to the fans.
Very much.
And then the next 3 were more original, kind of more standalone kind of things.
Uh-huh.
And I think you were able to get maybe some buy-in from the fans with the first one and go from there and try some different things from there. But they gave the fans what they wanted right out of the gate, which was probably a good thing.
Yeah, you know what? It was a nice reward, especially a great way to debut on TNT to get Babylon 5 fans over to the network to watch the show. Mm-hmm. You're right. It's an absolute payoff. You have to have watched the show to really understand what's going on there, to really appreciate it. Your boy Sinclair is back.
Yep.
And you get those little missing scenes of what was happening during the Earth-Minbari War.
Yes. And I kind of liked in Babylon 5 that they just referred to it, that this was, hey, this is something that happened a few years ago, and now we're dealing with the fallout. Like, I kind of liked that storytelling. And so when it showed up on screen, and we talked about it before, is that a good thing or a bad thing? But for the fans, I'm sure if you were in, when that came out, I'm sure it was like a thrill, and y'all can tell us in chat, like, how big of a thrill was it to see these things that they had been talking about for seasons? And like, I respect that. I respect that's where they went first.
Yeah. Well, we've got a great comment from Philip where it is a little bit of a stitch together. You've got the flashbacks with the Londo, tell me a story thing. And I get such great War Without End vibes with old Londo and that particular time. I love how that all comes together just as a fan. There's so many little things. I don't mind the Stitch operation. I think that's great. I loved seeing Sinclair again. It wants me to go back and watch season 1, the episode about his experience in the Earth-Minbari War all over. It's a great enticer.
Yeah, and that I hadn't even thought about that, but it's motivation to go want to, like, maybe buy some DVDs.
Yeah, no, you couldn't get DVDs back then. No, you had to record on VHS, baby,
man.
Which is what I did. I got like the 5-pack of Maxwell tapes and put them on the most compressed settings so I could get 5 episodes out of each tape because I was in high school and I was cheap. I had to do it. But then that was also a great way to get people to do that. TNT was running the series during the week, 5 episodes a week, going through, and that is exactly what I did.
So here's a question that's come up in chat, that this was basically, the movie was basically a clip show?
Maybe. You could see it as that, yeah. Adding just a little bit more. It's taking what you know and then just taking it a step further.
Yeah, and the fact that they were able to use some recycled footage, maybe
they did.
Even in, like, you could do that at that time when not every deleted scene was on a DVD or Blu-ray or
it's
online.
True.
And so more power to them. That was it's an artifact of its time, definitely.
I think so.
But what isn't?
Yeah, Babylon 5 is very much a 90s series. And I hate to say it, but in Third Space especially, where you really could, if they had a bigger budget to really go all out on special effects, if they could have gotten millions of dollars, this could have been a really interesting thing. And it would have at least been visually just stunning. But you have the TV movie quality, so you get to a certain point, you can see some of the grandeur that they're going for. You get the idea. But it's not fully realized, and that's generally how I think of Third Space in general. Hate to say, is it has some interesting ideas, like this artifact. We barely scratched the surface of getting to know what this thing is.
Yes. And
instead, we get Ivanova fighting with Sherry Belafonte, girl fight, ooh, and then John Newcomb Sheridan, again, we get 2 for 2. It's okay, but there's some things that I think could have gone a little deeper. And if I can just spoil my overall on the movies.
Please.
I think they all could have and should have gone a little bit deeper in the storytelling. They had some great ideas. The execution, I don't think, is fully realized because they're trying to balance a lot of things. I get that.
Yeah.
But they do fall short, in my opinion.
In Third Space was the second one, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
and that thing was hyped, for the record.
Oh, man, that was my least favorite. It was.
I remember you saying.
Ooh, I did not like that one.
You almost fell asleep.
I did.
Did you actually?
No, I didn't fall asleep.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to. Ooh, it was not my favorite, and you all can disagree with me, but the storytelling was, I felt like I'd seen it before, and it was, some interesting ideas, but here comes our train.
Not sure if you can hear that. There's train tracks across the way.
Train tracks right next door. But I don't know. I think it was just it kind of fell on some tropes and just didn't work. But that was me, and that's just the thing. Everyone has a different reaction to any any media that's out there. So
the big thing that got hyped, at least in my memory, was that Ivanova's in this. And at this point, we had known that Claudia Christian was not going to be in season 5. This, I think, was the last thing that she shot for Babylon 5. And so they really upped that, knowing that she was a favorite character. Like, look, Ivanova's back! And they even gave her some weird perm for the promo shots, which we never saw on screen, never saw her do ever again. It's the weirdest freaking thing. But this was definitely a thing that summer.
Yeah. So Philip has the question: should Zach and Lita have gotten together? No.
You know what? I think the elevator scene is all we needed.
Oh, and that was like that lift scene. Was it torture? Yes, that was like
what?
That lift scene. It was. Well, here was what it was. It was cringe comedy before cringe comedy was a thing on TV.
But this is Zach. He's a complete dork.
Yeah. And there's a difference. And Zach, for those of you who love Zach Allen, like she does a little bit.
I do. I love him for who he is.
Bless your hearts.
Come on now.
Bless your heart. Right?
No, he's the everyday guy. He's just trying to do his best out there. And he's not the greatest of all time. He's not a GOAT.
No.
But he's doing what he can.
Yeah, and
he's average.
Good for him.
He's an average dude.
Good for him. So, yeah, it's not my favorite. But, so I'm not Team Byron.
Hashtag remember Byron.
But aside from and just like Myra was saying, aside from that scene, like that's the one memorable scene, that and like the Death Star scene are about the only real things that I remember from that movie, aside from, just not wanting to be there.
Yeah. The lift scene by far and away is my favorite thing too.
And to think that it was a throwaway.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just added at the 11th hour to fill space. And why are you filling space on a TV movie? That is the fault of the story right there, you guys. And I love JMS. I will watch anything he produces, but this is not his best work. I hate to say it.
No. So, can we try?
Try what?
A different movie?
Yeah, let's go to what I think is your favorite, River of Souls.
Heck yes.
Okay.
My favorite. Go. Because my sense of humor, in case you haven't picked up on it, is bizarre and dark. And the idea of, y'all hated it and you flamed me in the comments for it, maybe rightly so, was how much I loved the hollow brothel.
Yeah, you really did enjoy that. And
that was just such a great storyline. I couldn't get enough of it. But that's like my sense of humor. Like that's the kind of stuff I find hilarious.
Yeah, and you enjoyed that mixing with a rather deep topic. Mm-hmm. And you loved the guy who played the hollow brothel owner, if I recall.
Oh yeah, that dude was. I don't know who the actor was, but man,
that's good casting.
It was very good. It was.
Yeah, you're supposed to hate him.
Yeah, and I did. You hated him, and that's what made it so interesting and fun to watch. You wanted to see this guy get his comeuppance, and you knew it was coming, and yet he still got some jabs in, and it was like, the conflict. It was fun. Like I loved that so much, and I loved the he did get his comeuppance in a couple different ways, which was really fun. Like the B5 crew got the best of him, and he lost everything he had built. And
dude screwed.
And that was just fun and funny to see unfold. and like it was a great offset to the rest of the story, which was really, really deep. And that's where we had disagreements.
Yes.
Was that this one didn't like that as much, didn't like that juxtaposition as much.
No, they're way too different in my opinion. Now, I think the big problem overall, and hear me out, let me know if you're on the same page as me or not. The thing with the hollow brothel that I think kind of irks people is the fact that there would be hollow brothels in the future in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
Using holographic technology and whatnot. But I feel like that is B5 steeped in reality. I mean, prostitution and sex with strangers has been a thing for as long as there's been human beings.
Yep.
People are going to find a way to get theirs. And this dude is just enabling that and trying to make a quick buck.
Yeah. And world's oldest profession, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it is sad that continues in the future, but it's also, I think, realistic. So, and to, by the way, go back. We had a good question from Darman in the chat.
What we got?
Seeing the young looking characters.
From in the beginning.
Babies. Yes, it's always fun to see babies. Oh no.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with that song.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to see that. And it was, I mean, a credit to the makeup artists to make those folks look as young as they did.
Gave them all different haircuts, some hair dye, Delenn in the old makeup.
And their wrinkles went away.
Magically.
Yeah.
This was before Botox, I think.
That was great. But one of the things that did bring me into that a little bit more. I was like, did they shoot this 5-10 years ago? They look great.
No, they really didn't. They shot it in 97 before the 5th season. And so kudos to the actors, kudos to the makeup artists, and everybody really did just put themselves back in that place time-wise and make it happen and make it convincing.
Yeah.
Not an easy thing to do.
So, Joel Brooks is the actor, apparently.
Okay.
Thank you, Philip, for
pointing that out.
Either knowing that or IMDbing it, one of the two.
And I don't know about the 80s sitcom My Sister Sam, but I do know the DS9 episode Move Along Home. That's a big episode. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So can we talk about President Bartlett?
Let's talk about President Bartlett.
By the way, we binged West Wing 2 about a year ago.
Yeah.
We binged the entire series.
Right before the election last year.
Yeah. And so we watched a lot of Martin Sheen. And so then seeing him, like we had just kind of finished that series a few months before. And when we started watching this movie, we both kind of like nudged each other.
Yeah, we did. Like, it was cute.
I was like, the president's here.
Right? And it's Bartlett, man. It's Martin Sheen. And that voice is unmistakable. Even though he's behind all of that makeup, you can still tell it's him. And seeing him now, having seen The West Wing, gave you a whole different appreciation for this installment of the movies.
And I had no idea it was coming. I've always tried to stay spoiler free. And when that happened, when he just kind of showed up, I was like, you held this out on me for how long?
Years, baby. Years.
Yeah. And so when it happened, I was like, hey, that is pretty cool.
Surprise.
Yeah, it was awesome. But that storyline was my favorite of the movies. The Soul Hunter storyline was absolutely my favorite storyline of all 4 movies.
All of it. Now, was it because Martin Sheen was playing this character?
No, it was just a really good story. And now he helped. He's a damn good actor. He is. And so having him along for the ride definitely helped. But at the same time, like, it was just an interesting story. And I mean, it was a good story, but having him, like, the epiphany that he has at the end of that movie of, oh my gosh, maybe we've been doing it wrong all along. Like, the look that kind of comes over his face when that happens. Yeah. There aren't a lot of actors who can have that much flash across the face. Like,
really making that moment happen in real time.
Yeah, so he owned that, and I think that that kind of put it over the top for me. It was a good storyline plus a good actor. I mean, good seems like such a hollow word at this point.
It's nice.
Yeah, but y'all know what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's top notch.
That combination was absolutely excellent.
Yeah, and as a couple people have mentioned in the comments, Philip and Darman, he did enjoy this role. I think it was a complete departure from anything he had ever done, and so he just reveled in it and had a good time. And good for him. I'm glad he did.
Yeah, and there probably weren't a lot of like A-list actors who would have jumped into a TV movie like this. Yeah. And he did. That's like a huge amount of credit to him for being willing to try something like this. And you could tell he respected Babylon 5 to begin with, right?
Oh, yeah. Total professional. I don't know the story about how he got cast. So if anybody knows that story, I would love to know it. Yeah, also Ian McShane is another bigger name that they got for these movies. And again, I don't know exactly how that happened, but I guess they blew the budget on hiring these guys.
And you know what? In this case, probably worth it. It was probably the right move to get an excellent actor to do that at the expense of maybe some sets or, special effects and CGI.
Yeah. Now, one thing, my big gripe, I have a couple of them about River of Souls, is there is that sequence, the whoosh in the elevator, I think, or it's Lockley kind of going into the ether. Yeah. Her hair's not moving. She's supposed to be at high speed. There's no expression on her face. She does not know what she's doing on the green screen. Horrible, horrible scene.
Yeah, maybe the worst scene in any of the movies was that Lockley in the elevator. I feel like I'm 2/3 of the way to a Clue finale. Lockley in the elevator with the Muzak. She just
it didn't go.
It looks so cheesy.
Bad.
Yeah.
It was not well executed at all. Like, director, please give her something. Give her some kind of reaction. Because I think we cut out a whole thing in River of Souls. Like, Tracy Scoggins, you're supposed to be acting now.
Yes, we did. We cut out, we had like a 2-minute rant against Tracy Scoggins for her acting in this scene.
Look,
that ended up on the cutting room floor.
I've seen her do so much better. I know she can. She just didn't for some reason. And I have a feeling it was because of green screen technology, which, yes, was still somewhat in its infancy at the time. But you're on Babylon 5. You should know these things by now.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Myra, for filling out that clue. Yeah. In the elevator with the love bat.
The love bat.
Yes.
This is the most missed marketing opportunity for a B5 gimmick that there ever was.
Yeah, the love bat.
Yeah, right? Yeah, 2 installments of $14.99 plus shipping. It could be yours.
Yeah, they missed out on an entire S&M community that they could have brought in to Babylon 5. And
yeah, you could have had Joshua Cox as Corwin being the spokesman, and then you could get him in some sexy attire, maybe. I don't know if that would work, actually. Corwin is, again, kind of a dork.
Here's a question. Does leather exist in the Babylon 5 era?
Yeah, I'd say it does.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, instead of whips and chains, baby, love bat. Show them how much you love them tenderly. See, the ads write themselves. Why this wasn't a thing, I don't know why they didn't cash in. Just B5 merch wasn't really on the ball. WB really, I'm really hoping with this new incarnation, if it goes to series, they market the shit out of this thing.
Yes.
Make it happen.
Yeah, and having Corwin have a bigger role, heck yeah. I like Corwin a lot. I think he's kind of generic, but at the same time, I think we can, the more we see of him, he would have been a fun one-off season 5 background story to tell. It's like, how did you get here? He
just shows up.
Yeah, have him be stuck in the lift. Have him be stuck in the lift with Zach. With Zach.
Okay, they could have.
And they've got to tell their stories or something.
That could be an interesting scene. What would have been great is during season 4, he's trapped in the lift with Ivanova, because he has that awkward moment in season 3, if you recall, where he's not sure if is he on a date?
Yes.
Should I bring flowers or not? And fumbles that.
Yes.
Yeah, the awkwardness could ensue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The love bat. No, the love bat has nothing to do with the hollow brothel, Philip. They closed the hollow brothel. The love bat lives on in our hearts.
In our hearts. In our hearts and minds and in our hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I do appreciate about the movies is the fact that we have kind of you have a mix of the top tier actors. You have Garibaldi, you have Sheridan and Lockley, but then you also get to know some of the others a little more. Lita's more present. Zach is more present. You get a little bit of Lieutenant Corwin. That's good stuff. It was cool to see them get more screen time, if nothing else.
So, can we do the last movie?
One more thought before
One more? Okay. Please.
Yeah. Okay. River of Souls stumbled upon a really cool idea, I think, about the civilization that was about to evolve, and instead their souls get trapped for thousands of years. the reason why I don't like the Hollow Brothel story so much is because it's taking time away from that. And it could have just been a very serious and deep TV movie, and I would not have had a problem with that. Would you have all? Just let's explore this. You're on a gold mine here. Let's freaking go.
Yeah. So it felt like, they half committed to that kind of story.
To make room for some levity, and just to JMS's credit, he did find a way to tie these things together. He made it work. Just, I'm not sure if this was quite the comedy that needed to be here,
Sure.
But also I would have been perfectly happy if they'd done away with it all.
Yeah, okay.
The Hollow Brothel story could have maybe been in third space, and I might have enjoyed it more. I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. All
right. How about we go to A Call to Arms, the backdoor pilot for Crusade.
You saw that face, or you heard that sigh.
Speaking of rants,
I think, there's some stuff that, if you watched our Babble for 5 on that episode, there was a lot of bleeping that happened.
Yes.
And there was even
so much extra work.
There was even more bleeping we had to cut. That was only saved by like the last 3 minutes of setup, and if it had been the 3 minutes of setup at the end had been the movie, then we're on to something.
Yeah,
right?
I feel the same way. That's the most exciting part. That is really what you need to know. And in my opinion, you don't even need to watch A Call to Arms to watch Crusade, because Crusade will give you just enough exposition to figure out what it is.
Yeah. And so, Myra's question on music. Yes, by the way, which we had to cut a lot. We barely touched on it in the episode. It's only like 30 seconds, but there was like 3, 4, 5 good minutes of discussion about the music in Call to Arms, because
that was a hard thing to cut.
Yeah, because now's your time. Because I barely noticed a difference, and like I didn't really notice it until she said something, and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe it was kind of different. But this one, rant begin.
And scene. Yeah, this is a hot point. I think I did get into the Babble, where we have a new composer doing a new thing, and I don't know if it just took everybody by surprise by how different it was, but people, generally speaking, hated it. Did not like where it was going. I remember people critiquing and saying, this sounds like a video game, not a soundtrack to a series and whatnot. And I can see that point, and I can also see the point of wanting to do something different. As much as I love Chris Franke, because he really gave the B5 soundtrack a distinct flavor. And you know that sound when you hear it, if you're a fan. So JMS just wanted to give another guy, and an unknown guy at that point, a chance. This was like his first really big gig, and a lot of people did not think that he succeeded. He did go on, though, to do tons of other stuff. He's still composing to this day. So it's not that he lacked any talent, but maybe there was a mismatch in just the tone of the series and whatnot. Or it could have just been the fact that Crusade never completely got off the ground and we couldn't realize its potential.
Maybe. It's I don't know, kind of interesting, because I guess maybe it's admission time. I got to tell on myself here a little bit.
Ooh.
I'm tone deaf.
You are.
I am really, really tone deaf. So the fact that I didn't notice the music shouldn't be all that surprising.
You know what? You're right.
It's probably more me than the music that I didn't notice the difference. There probably was a big difference. I just couldn't or can't pick up on it.
Okay, well, you know what, though? I'm kind of, as surprised as I was to hear you say that, I'm glad it didn't, affect your experience at all. It didn't take it down a notch for you like it did for a lot of people. Now, Mayra has a good question. Any intentions of watching Crusade? Because I did ask in the Babble, would this entice you to watch the series just for what it is? Do you want to?
Okay. Y'all have been waiting for this. Y'all have been putting me on the spot, and I've been very dodgy.
Yes, you have.
And I have said I don't know many, many times.
Yeah.
Right now, knowing what I know and having seen what I've seen, I'm not interested in watching Crusade.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that we won't.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we won't. I'm going to put that caveat on it that there's a chance that we will watch it and like Misty 3K it, right?
Oh dear. You know what? I don't want to piss off the Crusade diehards.
Okay.
There
All
are
right.
some out there, and I respect them for
All right.
enjoying the show for what it is. I mean,
Fair enough.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. But at the same time, the movie and like the last 3 minutes of exposition was kind of like an interesting thing. But at the same time, with the characters that we saw in the movie, I'm not all that interested in following along.
Okay. You know what I think our big misstep was is we didn't watch it in 2020.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, referring to Mayor's comment here, where if we had watched it in lockdown, maybe that might have enhanced the experience a little bit and made it even more relatable. I agree. That would have been a cool idea. Now, what did you think about the ships, the new class of White Star?
Oh, man. Y'all, short answer, didn't really care, didn't really notice.
Okay.
And I don't know, for me, I don't know. I don't get into that like techie,
yeah, you don't.
What's the newest, the latest? How have these changed? Like, does it shoot lasers? Does it work in space? Does it go fast?
Pew-pew.
That's about my limitations and like upgrades and stuff like that. I don't even notice because it's not something that is for me essential to the story.
Okay.
But,
the ship, in my opinion, the ship
but please go.
Was
tell me I'm wrong.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong.
Oh, you do all the time.
I do, but not about that.
Oh, okay.
I have nothing really to add. That's why.
Fair.
Yeah, the ship, it's fine. It's just like another incarnation. It's a different design. It's a new idea. I think what takes it down a notch for me, though, is freaking Drake. That weasel. I hate him. I cannot stand that guy. And especially it with further viewings, each time there's diminishing return. Like, because you know what he's going to do. Just, that guy. F him.
Yep. Yeah, and like that. Well, and I think we referenced it in our Babbled about the dumbest plan maybe ever. And yeah, no, thank you. And and then the other guy who stuck out in that movie was, what's his name? Who's the other main dude?
Besides Garibaldi?
Yeah. New character.
Galen,
yeah.
The Technomage.
Don't care.
You don't care about Galen?
No, I mean, do care in a bad way. Okay,
and Galen he becomes one of the main characters of Crusade.
Yep. Don't want to see him again. And that's probably part of why I don't want to watch Crusade is that guy was, we said it in this show, cryptic bad.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
And not interested in watching that guy's story. And maybe he gets better, right? And that's, I felt that way about a few Babylon 5 characters, namely Delenn.
Oh, yeah, you did not like her at first.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I did not like Delenn at first, and maybe this is a Delenn 2.0 situation where it gets better with age, and better the more you're around them. Hey, that's possible. That's possible. It's just that Galen was not
into it, huh?
Not into it at all. And
okay, that's interesting. Just because he does have such a bigger role in Crusade, I feel like if we watch Crusade, he's going to grow on you and you're going to love him, or you're just going to hate him much more. And it just depends on how you react to the character.
Yeah. Now, I did I think we mentioned it, Doritos Locos.
Oh, yes, the knife fetish lady.
Yeah, she was fun.
Darina,
yes, Darina was fun.
I really like her. Yeah, she's great. She's also in Crusade. And the actress, I don't think she did anything else besides this one role.
Oh, wow.
Like one and done.
Well,
I thought she was great.
Yeah, and she was like the kind of character who I could see following, where it was, when that's your thing, it's very hard to earn trust.
Sure.
And her going through this and earning and building and showing off, like, this is what I do, this is how I do it, this is like the way that things are, and constantly having to fight that fight all the time, but then building an ally network. That could have been something really fun to watch.
Gotcha.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and the character has a really cool backstory, in my opinion, that does not get explored enough, and it probably would have happened in future seasons, but of course we did not get that.
Mm-hmm.
And you have not read the autobiography Jamis wrote about why Crusade failed, but
I do want to.
Oh, okay.
I haven't.
All the details are in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and basically the whole thing was just DOA. Hate to say. So we got to get into some comments.
Yes.
First, about the Frankie soundtracks, I love listening to his music because I have that as well. And you can also see some of it on YouTube, just listening to it. I love instrumental music when I'm coding. That works for me. I can't listen to lyrics or podcasts because I'm either listening to one or I'm doing the other task that I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
I can't do both. I can't tune the lyrics out. But instrumentals, absolutely fine. So I love the music. And Philip has a great reaction to the ship. Sheridan's, this is it. Yeah, it kind of reminds me, just across the streams, a little of Star Trek Generations, where they all visit the Enterprise B. And it's like, oh, nothing's getting installed until Tuesday. We're not ready. Then why are you having a presser?
Yes. And where else? Let's see. Other comments that we need to double check.
Line on ISN Crusade. It's 4th month of quarantine. Oh yeah, we did a little more than that, didn't we?
Yeah.
But of course it was going to be a year, 5 years, something like that, where everything's decimated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You have a recommendation to keep watching some sci-fi. I don't know if you have any interest in that or not. I've tried to get you to watch some Star Trek, and we do watch the newer Trek.
We do.
We watch Disco, Picard, Lower Decks. And eventually I'm going to get you to watch Prodigy because I like that too. But do you have any interest in going back and watching the older stuff or watching something completely different like Stargate?
Y'all got to remember something about me. Okay? And that is that I, my nature is not to like sci-fi. That's not how I'm built. That's not the kind of entertainment I seek out normally. I mean, I seek it out. I don't seek it out, but I watched this kind of stuff because it's fun to watch it with her and to be present when we can talk about it, and that's fun. But it's not my nature to be interested in sci-fi. And so I think it could be kind of interesting to do like a first-timer's perspective on this kind of stuff, but it's also, it is a commitment.
Yes, it is.
And part of why I committed to Babylon 5 was because it's her favorite, right?
Yeah.
And she was able to bring that passion to this kind of project. And I don't know if there's that passion for any other show. Not
quite on that same level. And I've got to show off my lack of nerddom points here. You can take me down a notch. I haven't seen any of Stargate. That doesn't mean I won't watch it in the future. It's just there was so much good but short-lived sci-fi at that time where I was working and going to school. I missed a lot of that, like later 90s, early 2000s type of stuff. And so maybe eventually I'll get around to it. But right now, honestly, I have a hard enough time keeping up with new Star Trek. And then I'm going through Doctor Who, hence my shirt. Yes, we have the Peanuts TARDIS. And maybe a couple of other shows that I watch. Otherwise, not really. We're either watching it together or not.
Well, and the thing is, she watches Doctor Who on Thursday nights
while you're playing poker.
When I have a standing poker game every Thursday night. So so it's she's doing that on her own, and so
I can't get him to watch that one.
Yeah, and it's
okay. That's a huge commitment.
I've tried. I've I shouldn't even say that. I haven't tried.
Not with Doctor Who.
Not with Doctor Who, no. But it's been fun to watch Babylon 5 because of her. And,
likewise.
Well, and because of you and the people who love this show and are invested in it and have watched it, 20 times all the way through. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again because it's absolutely true, that this is like one of the most accepting and open fan bases I've ever seen in my life, and that's super cool. And
yeah, guys, you did him a solid here. Thank you.
And I still haven't gotten over that. How I've seen other fandoms, and sports. That's my background, and even other fandoms of other shows that I've like and follow that aren't sci-fi shows, and they're not every community is as open, as accepting and patient as the Babylon 5 community has been for this project. So I don't know where that will go, but the bottom line is it's been fun to do with her, and that's really what got me fired up about it was, kind of being able to kind of like, this is the show you love. What about that?
Season 1 was a little rough at times. Mm-hmm. And oh God, have you gone back and watched any of our old Babbles?
No.
Before we even did the shitty green screen work that we've done. Production value on this show is obviously not a thing, guys. And in the future, if we do something with the reimagined Babylon 5, I do want to up it just a little bit and look a little more professional, but we are obviously not video producers. We're just doing this for fun.
Yes.
But oh my God, cringe.
Yeah, and the part of the fun of, by the way, if we were to do some sort of react, it would probably be to the new B5, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's probably our most likely next project if we're going to do one. Is that. So. Yeah,
I don't know, honestly. Yeah, if I can get you to watch more of the B5 that you haven't seen, that's great. I'm not going to push you too much, especially with knowing that there might be more new Babylon 5 in the pipeline. Like that's where the energy, I think, is at. Mm-hmm. So
one thing I did want to bring up here in the chat was the actor who played Naroon would have been really good, Galen.
Ooh.
Full send on that. That is a great insight. Absolutely.
He could do that. He could bring for that character.
And I would have liked that better.
Yeah, that would have been great.
The guy who did Naroon, like, the character, I don't know, but the actor, like, he owned it. Very, very good suggestion.
He could bring the depth, for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Philip says, watch Firefly, make me rewatch that.
We tried Firefly.
Yeah.
We watched 3 episodes, I think 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah, I think I tried a little more.
Neither one of us could get into it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's one of those things I think where you either love that show or it's just not for you, and we gave up on it, which is so weird because I have no problem with kind of like the wagon train to the stars, cowboys and space type of thing. Mm-hmm. Hello, Star Trek. Couldn't get into it. I just did not care about those characters. I'm sorry if you love that show. Mm-hmm. So that's not going to happen. How about Galaxy Quest? Now, this is kind of a sci-fi parody in a way, but it's grounded in some great sci-fi tropes.
Now, is that the one? Is that a TV show?
It's a movie.
It's a movie. Okay. Is that the one with like Tim Allen in it?
Alan Rickman. Yeah, it's a spoof.
Have not seen
Morgan
it.
Fairchild, I think, is in it.
I have not seen it, but I'd be interested in watching that, yeah.
Okay, and I think you've seen, at this point, enough sci-fi to recognize some of the things that they're going for here. Sure. Another one I think you might enjoy is the Orville, because it's sort of like Star Trek The Next Generation, but with dick jokes.
Hey!
You could get behind that. Also,
Hey-o.
The guy he plays Archie, Dr. Archie on ER, Scott Grimes, he's in there as an officer, and he's off in the comic relief, and you're kind of bridging the future with the present in that show, but I'm going through it right now for the first time. I'm enjoying it.
Nice.
So
have you seen
the reimagined BSG? No, I have not. I haven't seen the original either. That's another one I need to get to.
BSG.
Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Yeah, so say we all. I know the references. Have not seen the show. I really want to, though. That's probably near the top of my list.
Okay, and then has my stance changed on sci-fi after watching Babylon 5?
Good question.
The short answer, yeah. Absolutely. It's, I coming from the outside perspective, for me was, I think for me, one of the big scary things was the fandom. Because it was the people who love these shows and love sci-fi, they love it. They embrace it. They're engaged with it. They know it inside and out. And if you don't know it inside and out, it can feel really intimidating. And I think that's been the biggest change for me, is to realize that it's not like that. It doesn't have to be an intimidating thing. And in fact, keeping the shows alive is what a lot of good fandoms in sci-fi are doing right now, and embracing new people coming in, people who are maybe teenagers now who are interested in Babylon 5 or sci-fi or things like they're saying, hey, you don't have to know it all. Like there's more of that now, I think, than there maybe 10 years ago. And
I would agree with that.
And I think that's been a good thing. And that has changed. Like my perspective on the fandom has really changed over the last 3 years, right?
Yeah. Okay.
My perspective on sci-fi as a genre, I think it's probably expanded a little bit more. I'm a lot more, I guess you could say, respectful of the storytelling possibilities that are out there, and it doesn't have to be all the fantasy of, and it doesn't have to be all shoot 'em up and somehow the good guys always have good aim and the bad guys always have bad aim, right? It doesn't have to be that, and I think Babylon 5 really kind of opened my eyes to the fact that there are more and better storytelling possibilities out there than what you see in the really, really popular stuff. Like it's more than just Star Wars,
and Star Trek.
And Star Trek, it's more than just here's some aliens and look at the pretty makeup and here's some laser guns. Like it's
way more.
Babylon 5 kind of shaped, watching the entire series definitely shaped my view on what the storytelling can be and maybe should be in shows like this.
Well, you know what? B5 being one of those very first serialized dramas that wasn't just sci-fi. It wasn't just a drama. It wasn't just a political story. It was all sorts of things with a whole different world set in the future. It elevated that standard, I think. Yeah. So if you're still here, Philip, thanks for joining us. Thank you for tuning in and asking some really good questions, making some great comments. Appreciate you doing that. We'll see what we can do about making you watch more shows. The whole B5 thing, I just have to reiterate just how so much of what you just said is to the credit of the B5 fandom, because as Darwin said, we do want to bring people into the fandom, not turn people off to it. So I feel like B5 especially in the years where we didn't think anything else was going to happen. It's been a very recent change where suddenly the tables have turned, we're going to get more. But for a long time, we just thought this is what we have and we need people to appreciate it. Right. So you have more people being welcoming, and it's not that gatekeeping of, you haven't seen it all? Well, then you're not really a fan. No, not at all. Also, you know what I think has helped? Streaming.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing new people in, giving people the ability to, but then that also just opens people up to, oh my gosh, you're going through it for the first time. I'm so excited for you. And then eventually folks get up to speed and you start talking about it, and that's been awesome. And I do agree, the B5 community has been a lot better about this than others. Yeah. I hate to say. Fandoms don't have to be trash, but unfortunately, they all tend to have a few trashy people.
Well, and let me say, for those of you who are at all interested in Patrick, my big project outside of this kind of stuff is I run a site on high school football, and it's, I have to constantly keep reminding myself that the people who follow me and follow my work, they change every couple of years. It's a new set of parents. It's a new set of players. It's and being able to kind of bring people into that, when I know things that, I probably, like a lot of you with your particular fandoms, you know a lot more than, or you've probably forgotten a lot more than some people know. Right? And so I have to keep reminding myself, hey, there's a lot of folks who don't know how this works. There's a lot of folks who, if I want to make them interested in what's going on, I have to repeat a lot of things over and over, and
show them ropes,
but make them feel welcome and make them not feel like, you didn't know how this works. What's wrong with you?
Same idea.
Well, I've been following it for more than 20 years, and
so you're a pro.
And maybe they're interested because their son is a freshman on the football team now, and it's like,
right. Well, that's typically how those things go, right? Is people get involved because they know someone that's involved.
And I think that's kind of like you guys and Shar, where it's, you need someone to kind of hold your hand a little bit.
Right?
And,
like, oh, you want to like what we like? Come here. Let me show you.
And doing that by yourself can be super intimidating. Doing that with someone, way more fun.
Oh, I had a blast doing Babble for 5 with you, which it makes me excited for the prospect of possibly doing another show down the road. And then it's our first time for both of us. What will that look like? What will that mean? Oh my gosh. I just get butterflies thinking about it.
So I did want to bring this up in chat, though.
What's that?
Where there was, somebody mentioned that...
What we got?
Somebody was talking about Battlestar Galactica having a pretty good soundtrack.
Oh,
and
I should check that out.
That might be something that you're interested in. I don't know where that comment went, but yes.
I bet I can find that. Yeah, I'm a big soundtrack fan, so I would dig that. Even not knowing the context, I'm sure I'd still appreciate it.
Chris asked The Expanse and Red Dwarf.
I've seen a tiny, tiny bit of Red Dwarf, and I have not watched The Expanse yet. That, I think, is at the top of my list of shows that I haven't watched just because I've heard so many good things about it.
Yes.
But I have heard it's kind of a little dark, and you have to be in the mood to watch that. And a lot of times I'm watching TV for escapism. And I do like a little bit of laughter in my entertainment, so we'll see how that goes.
But you don't like the hollow brothel.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You know what?
I'm sorry.
No, you are right to call me out on that BS because that is, but not the hollow brothel. I think Philip made a comment way back about how another reason why people didn't like it was because we have Lockley in lingerie.
Oh.
And it's just a way to get the actress to show off her sexy body.
Yeah, that's you can always tell when like that kind of stuff is going down, and it's always just like, oh, guys,
it's kind of cringe.
You didn't have to.
They didn't have to. Yeah. The one payoff maybe of that scene is just seeing Lockley's reaction to it. And at this point, you know that dude is dead.
Yeah. Darman and Brian, thank you.
Hi, Brian.
For chiming in. Yes, that it's a fairly high concept show. And by the way, that's one of the things that I think I like about it. And that's, when I was talking about the storytelling, that's what I meant. And you phrased it a lot better than I did, which is it's a high concept show, and not everyone likes that. And I do. I really liked that aspect of Babylon 5, that it was not, just a case of who has better aim with their laser gun. It was a case of actually bringing up some big questions and thoughts and ideas to think about. And I appreciated that end of the storytelling. It was, that's what got me in. Like, I think it was the Soul Hunters, right? It was like the second or third episode of season 1. Yeah. Where I was like, oh, this is a little bit different.
Yeah. This was not going to be your typical show. And then the wheels really get turning about 2/3 in when they finally start being able to spin the wheels of the continuity, the overall storyline. I'm losing my ability to talk now. So we are getting close to an hour, though, and that was about our target. So, Darman, I will consider Red Dwarf. If I get some giggles, that might elevate it on the list for me. I like my giggles. So, some final thoughts. Anything that you want to share? Like, were there any other cut scenes from Babble that you remember? Because you do a lot of the cutting, and then I do the...
Yeah. Know that when we cut down to 5 minutes, my target is usually right around like 5 minutes and 32 seconds, plus our outro.
We have stretched it a little bit in this incarnation.
We did stretch it for the movies a little bit, but... we record about 20 to 22 minutes of footage usually, and we have to cut it down to 5, and that's my job. Yeah. And we leave out a lot in the movies. I mean, nothing in particular that got cut that was huge, but we had a lot of like discussion, like entire like 5-minute discussions that we have to just cut because we don't have, it's 5 minutes or like 3 minutes edited down maybe, or it's nothing at all. And we have a lot of those. And this is part of why we we've been able to touch on a few of those today, which has been really nice.
That's why these are a blast, because then we can go into those details. Yeah, this time you really cut out just like entire chunks of the convo.
Because we had to. But the biggest ones I remember were your rant on Tracy Scoggins, and then my rant on, I forget what it was. Something else we talked about. But yeah. Yeah, but there have been a few things like that I'm always kind of sad, but
Got to kill your darlings.
right. And I think that's part of why people are so engaged within the comments is because we save the best 5 minutes.
Yeah, and some have been better than others.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been times where we have had to cut what we have thought has been really good stuff. But that was the whole idea, was to keep it really concise and just pound it down and really condense it.
Yes.
In part just because of the workload. Right. If we were doing this for money, we'd give you a full hour every time. But yeah, but we figured that was going to be a good, concise format. And then if we didn't have a whole lot to say, it's 5 minutes.
Yes, exactly.
We can fill 5 minutes.
And I'm proud to say we always cut.
Always. We never were just looking at each other like, well, I don't have too much to say about this one. There's always something to say.
Yeah. So we always cut, and we always end up cutting some good stuff, which is too bad. But
yeah, nature of the beast.
Yeah.
So
that was where I stood with that. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Another final question. Are you glad you watched the movies?
Yes. As painful as a couple of them were, I'm glad we watched them. I'm glad we reacted to them because it does help fill out the story. It does make things feel more complete, and it does give you a sense of where things are going. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, and so that was a good thing. And like even if you aren't entertained like all get out, that's okay. That's okay, and I'm glad we did watch them. So
cool. That also kind of goes into my next question, which, and at the time, this was a big thing. And so in retrospect, I'm not sure how much this honestly affects you, but overall, with season 5 and the movies, do you think going to TNT was a good move? Because I have thoughts, but I want to hear yours first.
Hard to say because I wasn't living in that moment. But you could tell season 5 and the movies were different from the first 4 seasons. And whether that had anything to do with the network it was on or not,
don't know.
I don't know. I can't really tell. But you can tell season 5 was different. So
okay, so a follow-up question on that. Did those changes affect the integrity of the series at all for you? Like, should they have stopped after 4 and called it?
4 would have been a lot more natural stopping point. But 5, I've said it before, that 5 still brought up things that were needed and necessary and helpful and entertaining. So I'm not mad 5 exists. But 4 would have felt like a much more natural place to end things. But I don't know. It's also kind of fun that a lot of shows stop at that natural ending point. So it's kind of fun to see a show try to go past that point and try something different and experiment with what that looks like. And they didn't jump the shark.
No, I don't think they did.
They didn't jump the shark.
Even if you didn't like the Byron storyline, which is, I think, the big aching thing that people don't like about season 5, there's still so much other stuff to appreciate. Now, I had a point. What was I going to do here? Ending it at season 4 and then following it, ending with Sleeping in Light, oh my gosh, would have been probably the most explosive thing in the world. But I do love certain things about season 5 just because it is a little bit of a de-escalation. And it's so funny you say that this was an experiment and what have you. B5 was always meant to be a 5-year story. The unfortunate thing is that JMS had to wind things up for season 4 thinking he was getting cut off.
Right.
And that did affect season 5. Big time. That and getting some of his plans thrown away in a hotel room during a convention because the housekeeper did not know any better. So some ideas he had lost forever.
Yeah. I think that, to put it, I'm going to try to put a bow on this because we are about an hour and we know.
Yeah, we better wrap up.
So the idea that we were able to go through this and go through it together and spend whatever it was, 3 years.
Since 2018, that's when we started.
Doing this stuff, I think has been, let me put it this way. Watching B5 together, putting together Babble for 5 has been one of the best things for us as a couple. And that I don't regret at all, because it's been really fun to go through this with my wife and my soulmate, and that has been awesome. So thank you.
Totally agree. The fact that you even wanted to do this in the first place, just come on, how can I not feel so much warm fuzziness in my black little heart? It's been so much fun. And I'm glad we saw it through to the end too, not just season 5, but to keep going too. And a credit to all of you for helping us form a small but very mighty community. Like, I knew this was a very niche thing. I was never thinking we were going to become famous YouTubers ever. But it was so cool that people did start showing up and talking to us and got interested in the process of seeing what you thought as a first timer, just because so many of us have been seeing the same thing for 20 years. It gave a fresh perspective.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of fun. It really has. So to that end, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. We aren't completely sure what's happening in the future, but when we do have some idea, if we do come back, we will try and let you know as much as possible to get the word out there. If people want to follow you on Twitter, where should they find you?
At P Schmidt, that's PSCHMIEDT. It's been in the end of most of our tags. It was not on the end screens for the movies, but it was for the rest of the series. So,
well, was it?
Yeah,
it was at some point. I think the early ones.
Yeah, and if you want to see my passion projects, at Wyoming Football on Twitter.
Yes, that's his nerddom. And if you want to follow me, my handle is the profanity, OH the profanity, and that's where you can find lots of the announcements, whatever it is that we decide to do, and we'll let you know. So that's going to be a wrap for this one. Thank you all so much for joining us. Take care, and we will see you sometime.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.